Good morning, everyone. Welcome along to the men's downhill, the opening day of coverage here at the FIS Alpine Junior World Ski Championships for 2024 in the Haute Savoie, Haute Savoie in France. This beautiful part of the world hosting all of these championships across a number of resorts in the area. Across Chatel, that's where we're at today for the men's downhill coming up first, followed by the women's downhill later on today. And we've got events taking place tomorrow in Morzine, later on in the week in Léger, Saint-Jean-d'Alpes and Avoriaz as well. My name's Ian Findlay. It is a pleasure to have your company here on FIS TV. We're going to have coverage right the way through these Junior Worlds for you, so please tune in throughout the week, all the way through until the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see the next generation of alpine racing superstars take part in these championships. So, well, there, the course, a little bit of the course that you could see here in Chatel. We've had 2 training runs over the past couple of days, and this title, of course, is one that some of the greats of the sport have picked up over the years. It was won a year ago in St. Anton in Austria by Rok Arzno from Slovenia. If we look down through the list of previous winners of the Junior World title, you can pick out a few of them. One name maybe stands out a little more than some of the others. Marco Odermatt won it in Davos in 2018. But this, a big stepping stone for these athletes on their journey towards the World Cup Tour. There's the start list for you. We've got 52 men on the start list, and it will be Canada kicking things off. Jared Thompson will be the first man to go on this course. He had a okay training run, 22nd for him yesterday. Well, athletes from all around the world travelling to these World Junior Championships. 52 men on the start list. It's a busy period for a lot of the junior racers. Some of them have recently, just in the past few days, come home from the Winter Youth Olympic Games taking place in Gangwon in Korea. Many of the athletes a little bit older, outside of the age range for those Youth Olympics, have been training and competing on the Europa Cup Tour. There was some the Europa Cup Speed Series on for the men in Tarvisio last week, where a lot of the athletes have been getting experience. And this being the downhill with the juniors, some skiers have got a lot of experience. Others have only just had a few downhill starts in their career to date, but a great stepping stone and a big opportunity for all of these athletes. The championships running from 27th of January, a few days ago when the training started, to the 3rd of February. 2 days of downhill training. We had the opening ceremony in Morzine yesterday. Morzine, the real nerve centre of this these Junior Worlds. That's where the accommodations, ceremony, ski rooms, all the meetings are taking place. Here in Chatel today, that's about a 49-minute drive from Morzine. This is an eco-responsible championships, and the organisers have set up options for the teams to travel by piste. It's a lot quicker and saves the driving due to how well linked this Le Haute-Savoie region is in France. Well, in terms of the weather today, it's not the warmest, not the coldest. 0 degrees. The course mostly in shade, particularly at the bottom. Good to see a few fans around as well, supporting these athletes on. some of the favourites for this one. Maybe one of the French skiers, Albin Alesi Canafarina, who picked up the silver medal in this event last year, and Livio Hildebrand from Switzerland picked up the bronze. They're both in the list, on the start list. We get underway. Jared Thompson from Canada, 22nd in training, 19 years old. It's his first Junior World Championships. He started on the Europa Cup Tour for the first time last week. We're going to talk a lot about Europa Cup and NORAMs throughout this race today. It's where the majority of the skiers are having their experience. He's got a best result as Thompson of 23rd place in a NORAM. As most of you will, I'm sure, be aware, the Europa Cup Tour, that second level down of international competition, and NORAM's part of the Continental Cup Tour as well. We've had athletes competing in the South American Cups in speed over the South American winter. 1:21.52 the time on the board for Jared Thompson from Canada. Well, he's celebrating his first Junior Worlds. Not a huge amount of downhill experience at this level of competition. This is high. We've got athletes pushing towards the World Cup Tour here. Simon Selag from Norway, 20-year-old, out of the Ready Alpine Club in Oslo. 9th in yesterday's second training. A very nice result for him. And he's up at the first split. Because of the start intervals, we're not going to see the full length, the full run of each skier. He's getting a little on the inside there, but nice recovery from the Norwegian. Just a little bit more aggressive with his approach, finding that aerodynamic tuck. This is where you've got to glide those skis well. 1.34. And Selag, who's Europa Cup best, was a 17th place. And he's going to go into the lead here. You can hear the cowbells out making some noise, cheering on these athletes. And the finish line there, 1.78. So Simon Selag from Norway takes over in the lead. Well, a good run from the Norwegian. He's strong on that left ski over the jump. Makes the next edge change nicely. Next up, also from Norway, it is Axel Hammer. It's his first Junior World Championships. 0.12 back off of his teammate. Europa Cup best for the 19-year-old Norwegian. A 19th place. And he's running it pretty close with his teammate. Parts of the course just in a little bit of sunshine. This really, for me, one of the key turns. If you get set up early enough there, really drive through that turn, you can carry the speed through this next section. There's a lot of natural terrain on this course, and this, the main gliding section, 0.45 off the pace at the moment. And with not a lot of racetrack left, it's going to be very difficult for the Norwegian to make up too much time. He'll need to be exceptional through this bottom part of the course. The time of Selag, 1:19.74. Axel Hammer's going to be just outside, half a second down. Goes into second place right now. So Norwegian in Norway in first and second. Canada in third with Thompson. Felix Enstrasser now for Austria. Now, he was 6th in yesterday's second training, the 20-year-old. Just 900ths of a second off the pace at the moment. The last Austrian man to win the downhill title at the World Junior Championships, Romed Baumann. That was in Maribor in 2004. Austria not having a lot of success in men's downhill at the Junior Worlds over the past few years, but Enstrasser looking to change that. 0.23, he's in touch. Key turn here, sets up nicely, good platform with the skis. Very solid, stable base for the Austrian. Happy with that 6th place in trainings. Best of Europa Cup results, 29th place twice this season. He's going to be just outside into second place. 0.33 down. And Enstrasser now has to see just how well that run holds up. We're back again tomorrow for the Super G for the women and men. Don't forget, we've got the women's downhill coming up later on today. It'll be after the men's downhill has finished, of course. Now, Max Peratona, 21-year-old from Italy, third in yesterday's second training. You may recognise the Peratona name. He's the son of Alan, a great slalom skier. I enjoyed watching 20-plus years ago. Alan Peratona had 4 World Cup podiums in the early 2000s. Max, 900ths of a second off at the first time check. 27th last time out in St. Anton. A career best, though, come in on the Europa Cup Tour of 10th in Super G. 18th in downhill. That came in 2023. And Peratona is running this one close here. Good error, good tuck position. Really looking for the speed on the bottom section. There's a little bit of terrain that's really squashing some of those skiers here. And is Peratona going to take it? He goes into the lead by 0.22. Italy take over. Max Peratona leads the men's downhill at the 2024 Junior World Championships. Great position through that turn. You can see there's some little bumps. Very aggressive. Over the jump. Doesn't fight it. Lets it go well. Dennis Corte now for Switzerland. Max Peratona in the lead. And Corte, 0.2 of a second off for the pace. The last Swiss winner of this title, Alexis Monet. That was in Narvik in 2020. Switzerland, over the past, since 2002, have won this title 6 times. That is the most of any nation. 0.57 off of the time of Peratona. A little bit down on the speed gun as well. 12.43 kilometers per hour for Dennis Corte. And Max Peratona is going to stay in the lead, and Corte goes into 5th place, 1.04 down. Well, a good run for Corte. Valuable experience at this level. First of the French challengers, Leo Baraldi. 19th in the second training yesterday. He's out of Les Deux Alpes. It's his first junior world championships. Really focusing on speed. All of his Europa Cup starts have come in the speed disciplines. All but one of his Europa Cups, I should say. And he's running this one very close at the top split. 0.05 of a second down. Takes the flight well. Quite a big flight as well through into this gliding section. He's lost a little bit more time here. 0.7 of a second back. This the key turn that we are getting to see. Really about being light on the skis, light on the edges here. Precise, get the line spot on. Baraldi from France is going to be outside, and he goes into 6th place, just over a second down. Peratona still leads for Italy. Giovanni Planzoni won this title in 2022. Italy have won it 5 times since 2002. Gregorio Bernardi next to go for the Italian team. 1.8 down. He was very quick at the top split. 0.28 of a second. That was the quickest of anyone. We don't get to see much of the top section of the course due to these start intervals, a minute 15, with the course running at about a minute 19. So seeing most of the bottom of the course, and the Italian still putting down a very strong run here. Very impressive run from Bernardi from Italy. He is up at all of the splits. Is he going to be able to take it on the line? Bernardi takes it by just over 1/10 of a second. Gregorio Bernardi from Italy into top spot right now. A fantastic run there for the 20-year-old Italian. 27 Europa Cup, 26 Europa Cup starts for the Italian, and a fantastic performance. Edgar Meyer now for France. 0.88 down. Italy in first and second. Bernardi and Peratona. Just getting the line a little wrong coming off of that jump, but there is the space to recover on this next part of the course. 1.07 down, and Meyer a little off the pace right now. He'll try and go into damage limitation mode, not lose too much more time over the final 7 or 8 seconds of this course. Getting into that tuck position. The finish line in sight here, and Meyer goes into 8th place, 1.36 down. So Bernardi in the lead for Italy. Bernardi in his third Junior World Championships. Alban Elezi Canafarina for France. One of the gold medal favourites. He's 20 years old, out of Courchevel. Took the giant slalom in 2023. Second in the downhill. Fourth in the slalom in 2022. And he's out. Oh, big shock here. Canafarina. Oh, you can see the frustration. You really feel for him. Fifth in the second training yesterday. And one of the big favourites, the silver medalist from last season, out of the race. Perhaps France's big hope for the gold medal. Bernardi still in the lead, and we can still hear Canafarina so angry at himself. And this is all part of the learning curve for these junior racers. 20 years old, it would be his last Junior Worlds as well. Of course, he will be back in the Super G tomorrow and looking to defend his giant slalom title on Saturday. Well, 10 athletes have been, 9 have completed the course, and we're ready to move on with another of the potential favourites. Livio Hildebrand from Switzerland, second in yesterday's final training. Bronze medalist in downhill in St. Anton, getting a big cheer from the coaches. 0.05 of a second off the pace on the first split. Hildebrand is going to be the quickest through the gun as well at 116 kilometres an hour. Still has the green light on. 0.05 of a second for Hildebrand from Switzerland. The cowbells are cheering. We're not far away from the Swiss border here. Can Hildebrand go into top spot and possibly bring Switzerland another men's title here? Hildebrand takes it by 0.35. Switzerland leading the way in the men's downhill. He won the Super G gold in 2023, 2 Europa Cup podiums in downhill in December. This man could go a long way. Felix Rosle now for Germany. 18-year-old was 10th in the second training yesterday. Best of 29th coming in Europa Cup downhill. We've seen a blistering time set by Hildebrand from Switzerland, 1:19.05. He's ahead of the 2 Italians who are looking strong. Still got the likes of Philip Kalin still to come as well, but Felix Rosle 0.85 off of the pace. Good speed through the gun, 114 kilometres an hour for the German. That's the third quickest of anyone, and he's maintaining the speed here, maybe just losing a little bit over the final section into 7th place, 1.33 down. So Hildebrand in the lead. We'll see Quick replay of Rosalie's not too happy with that one. But at 18 years old, he'll still have another opportunity in the downhill next season. Just losing a little bit of time there. Lance Heckler, 20-year-old from Switzerland, underway. 7th in the second training yesterday. Took the silver medal in the Super G last season in St. Anton. Then 41st in the downhill. Raced the giant slalom in World Cup in Alta Badia. A real talent, another talent that the Swiss program are developing here. A 900ths of a second. This is good from Heckler. Running his teammate very close. Love the tuck position. Wide stance, gliding the skis well. Giving himself a great platform to attack this course. This one is going to go right down to the line. Heckler. And he's into 4th place. Half a second down. Losing it on the bottom section of the course. Well, a lot better than he managed in the downhill last year in St. Anton. But he, of course, will be back tomorrow for the Super G. Enzo Roccaserra underway for France. .1.24. Doing that for 13th place at the moment. And Roccaserra, again, for him, for many of these athletes, it's not a medal that they're looking for. It is all about developing the experience and getting the skill set that you need to be successful in this discipline. It's one that does take a few years to build, so a lot of these skiers don't have a huge amount of downhill experience, but it's a really valuable stepping stone in the journey for Roccaserra from France. Just a little bit late in the line, coming through at 3.59. He goes into 13th place. A little tall through that section. We saw Hildebrand, very dynamic, really working that outside ski. Philip Kalen from Switzerland, he won the second training run yesterday. 10 Europa Cup starts in his career. Downhill and Super G, his best disciplines. Europa Cup best coming last week in Tarvisio, big speed series taking place on the Europa Cup Tour. Oh, and he's got the line a little wrong there. That could be some more time lost for Philip Kalen. 0.48 would be just outside the medals right now. And Philip Kalen charging towards the line. He's not going to repeat the victory in the that he had in the second training. And the 19-year-old from Switzerland goes into 6th place, 0.89 off of the pace. Hildebrand still in the lead. This is where he gets the line wrong, coming off that jump, having to work back across the hill. Matteo Haas next to go for Austria. 7 Europa Cup starts, coming off the back of a career best last week of 18th on the Europa Cup Tour, just 19 years old. And Haas 0.44 down at the first time check. 2 splits on the course. Oh, just getting a little twisted there, coming into this next section. He's on the inside as well. It's a bit of rock and roll from Matteo Haas. At the next split, he's going to have lost a bit more time here. He has 1.15 down for the Austrian. Top 10 would be a decent return for Haas. And Matteo Haas crosses the line. He goes into 13th place, losing a little bit more time on the bottom section. It's that bottom section there, Hildebrand was so strong. Hunter Salani for the USA well, he's not started, I believe. He's next, actually. I do apologise. Rigamonti now for Italy. Italy still in the silver and bronze medal positions. He was 11th in the second training. 5 Europa Cup starts, all coming this season. Hasn't been better than 52nd in downhill. And Rigamonti putting together a nice run here. 0.76 off of the pace. That would be good enough to be well inside the top 10. Hip 17, Leonardo Rigamonti. Now the legs are really burning and he goes into 9th place. 1.33 down, tied with the German. Felix Rosol. Bit of a hip check coming into that long sweeping right foot turn. Now Hunter Salani for the USA. 18 years old, out of Vail, Colorado. 23rd in the Super G at the World Juniors last year. 38th in the downhill. Had a really nice speed series in Copper Mountain on the NORAM Tour back in December. 3 top 10s there. Building the experience in this discipline. A little backseat over the jump, but he recovers nicely. Approaching the second split, and he's lost a little bit more time. Over a second back now, and Hildebrand's lead is safe. So the first of the US challengers is going to stop the clock, and he goes into 15th place, 2 seconds down off of Hildebrand, who leads. And as we work our way through the start list, Hildebrand will start to be a little more confident that the gold could be his. That's where the American just a little backseat, but safely in the finish. Emile Bauer now for France. The 18-year-old out of Le Grand Bonnard, 0.93 down at the first split, and a very aggressive run from Bauer. But maybe just not as aerodynamic as we've seen from Hildebrand. 1.73 at the second time check. A little down on speed as well, running just 111 kilometers an hour for the Frenchman, starting at 19th, and he stops the clock in 17th place, 2.56 down. But at just 18 years old, not as experienced as the likes of Hildebrand, Bernardi, Peratona, who are leading the way. But some nice skills on display, particularly over the jump, handled that well. Dominic Shackleton from Great Britain. Great Britain have 2 men in this race. We'll see Elliot Bennett a little bit later. Shackleton, 19 years old. It's his second Junior World Championships. NORAM best of 19th coming in Whistler in March 2023. Part of a 12-strong British team. Starting to see a few British athletes again on the speed circuits on Europa Cup and NORAM. That's a big mistake from Shackleton. Very good recovery, getting the line wrong over the jump, but he recovered well. 2.99 off the pace. But he's going to look back at that jump and know that that's where a good chunk of time has gone. It'd be great to see a few more British skiers competing in speed. We'd love to see some Brits in speed on the World Cup Tour again. 19th place for Shackleton, 3.9 off of the pace. but he knows where the error came. And he'll be back in the Super G. Skied that turn well, getting into the tuck position pretty early, but it was the jump that cost him. Just hit a little bump, and that maybe took his line away. Matthias Wilson for the USA next to go. Now he skied out in the second training yesterday out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. 15th and 16th in the NORAMs in Copper Mountain back in December. For many of the US and some Canadian athletes as well, that is their early season NORAM races that they get their first exposure of NORAM racing. And they are some tough races as well. 2 seconds off the pace for Wilson. Finish line in sight, little bit of sunshine on the course in places. And it's 18th place for Wilson, 2.84 off the pace. Standing pretty tall through that turn, really making sure of it. But some good skiing on display. Thomas Zippert now for Switzerland. 12th in the second training yesterday for the 20-year-old from Arosa. His Europa Cup best is 34th in Super G. Getting the downhill skis on for the Junior Worlds. And Zippert approaching the second of the splits. He's 2.5 off of the pace here. Good enough for a top 20. Lots of fit Swiss fans have made the journey. A short hop across the border. You can actually ski across the border in this part of the world. And Zippert into 19th place, 3.06 off of the pace. Second of the British skiers, it is Elliot Bennett. He was 31st in the second training yesterday, 2.79 back. And then out of South Yorkshire in England, grew up, started skiing in the domes, in Castleford in particular, and then making the jump onto snow, and now really going pretty well in the speed disciplines and good aggressive approach. And we'll see Bennett at the next time check and gliding the skis nicely here. 1.97 off of the pace, and this is a good run from Bennett, flattering into that control gate, running it out wide, focusing on maintaining the speed. And Bennett here approaching the finish line, and he's going to stop the clock in 18th place, 2.81. Just losing a little bit of time on the bottom section, but solid run from Elliot Bennett. And just getting that line wrong over the jump. Emil Nyberg now for Switzerland, for Sweden, I should say. Out of Sundvall, 17th in the second training yesterday. 21st in this event in 2023. Sweden, of course, winning the team parallel event in St. Anton 2023. Nyberg's got a best of 32nd place on the Europa Cup Tour. Lots of the Swedish skiers coming through slalom and giant slalom, as of course all the juniors start off in those disciplines, but particularly in Sweden, lots of FIS races in that part of the world. And this is good from Nyberg, 0.88 off of the pace, the best we've seen for a few skiers here. But a lot of the athletes have been losing a bit of time on the bottom section. It is where Hildbrand was so quick, but Nyberg comes in 11th place, 1.51 down. And I think Nyberg's going to be pretty happy with that run. He was 0.47 off at the top split. Antoine Azoulay, 20-year-old from Megève. Not too far away from this part of the world. Great technical skier. Third in the slalom at the Junior Worlds last season. Sixth in the Super G. This is third Junior World Championships. 0.63 on the top split. Approaching the second split in a moment, and this is a really tidy run. It's not going to go into top spot, but showing that he has got the skills across all of the disciplines, and France may have a future all-rounder on their hands here. A little bit on the inside through there, but getting back into the tuck position quickly, gliding the skis nicely. Just a little scrub through that turn. He's lost a bit more time here compared to that second split, and he's into 15th, 1.72 off the pace. But watch out for him in the slalom, giant slalom, and maybe even the Super G as well, as we work our way through these FIS Alpine Junior World Ski Championships. And you can watch it all on FIS TV. There's a little mistake there. Justin Bigetel from the USA, starting at 26th. .6 down at the first of the time checks. Out of the Burke Mountain Academy, 20 years old. That academy develops a lot of talented skiers out on the east coast of the USA. Again, a few skiers just getting the line not quite where they'd want it to be over the jump, and standing a little tall here, 3.29 off the pace at the second split, 110 kilometers an hour, 5.53 down on the quickest that we've seen. Hildebrand's time of 1:19.05 is safe. The American into 25th place, 4.46 down. Banyai from Hungary underway. 1.62 back at the first split. 18 years old, so relatively inexperienced when it compares to some of the top athletes at these championships, particularly in downhill. Big flight off of the jump for Attila Banyai. And again, this is about getting the experience, getting the skills, building on it in future years. This event, a stepping stone for many. Hungary, not a nation that have had a lot of success on the World Cup Tour, but Banyai will be looking to change that over the future years. 24th place, 3.78 down. Good line over the jump. And Mintigui from Spain next up. Spain now starting to see success, particularly in men's slalom over the past couple of seasons. And Mintigui looking to do it in speed. 0.48, that is okay. At the first time check, it's coming after about 31 seconds, so it's not like an early split that you see on the World Cup Tour. That is a key split, and this is good. 1.26 would be good enough for a top 20 right now. There were so many beautiful resorts in Spain. Formigal hosting these championships in 2008. Mintigui into 17th place, 1.97 down. I think he's going to be pretty pleased with that one. Didn't lose as much time as some others have done on the bottom section. So a lot of positives to take there for Spanish athlete. Hips a little back over the jump. Simon Widmesser from Germany, 20th in the second training yesterday. Just 18 years old, one of the younger athletes in the top 30 out of Oberardorf in Bavaria. 6 Europa Cup starts. He's really been focusing on the speed events on the FIS Tour, like the next step down from Europa Cup. Over the coming years, he's going to no doubt pick up more Europa Cup starts, and as he develops his skiing, 1.76. This is pretty good from the German. Now, if he could keep it within 2 seconds, or maybe just over 2 seconds, he'd go into the top 20. That is where he finished in that second training yesterday. Well, 1:19.05 ticks by, and Widmesser into 20th place, 2.55 down. Carried good speed through the gun. 10th quickest of anyone there, Simon Widmesser. So another skier that will take the experience and move on. Kyle Blanford next up for Canada. Out of the Toronto Ski Club, 21 years old. Just a couple of Europa Cup starts for him. Those starts coming in Tarvisio just last week. Pretty tough set of Europa Cup races. And with the cancellations of the men's downhills for Chamonix. Oh, and big error from Blanford, but great recovery from the Canadian. And 0.9, this is impressive. He's really letting it all hang out. Very attacking approach. That mistake over the jump may have cost him a little bit more time. And for bib 30, Kyle Blanford is into 17th place, 1.96 down. He lost a lot of speed on the bottom section, just over 7 kilometers an hour down on the speed of Hildbrand. Well, the top 3 right now, and it's as we've now ticked past the top 30, Hildbrand, Bernardi and Perotona looking like they will be the medalists at these Junior Worlds. Cornela Guitard from Andorra, another nation that is getting some success with Jean Verdu on the Men's World Cup Tour. And it's fantastic to see new nations breaking through. Of course, the skiing in Andorra, absolutely fantastic, and hosting the World Cup finals last season. 2.34 down off of the quickest time for the Swiss leader. And through this start list, the athletes now going in rank order, so the athletes going towards the end are higher up, they are lower down the rankings on the in terms of FIS points. Cornela going into 26th place. Alan Rybacek from Slovenia. Next up, Rok Asno took the title last season. Saw him on the World Cup Tour in Super G in Garmisch last Sunday. Slovenia have had 3 men's winners of the Junior World Championship since 2002. Rok Perko taking it in 2005. Bostian Klino winning it in Crans-Montana in 2011. 2.97 down for the Slovenian. On the start list today. And Hildebrand will be starting to celebrate now. 31st place, 4.61 down for the Slovenian. But again, I'll keep saying it is all about the experience for these athletes. Moritz Zudrell was supposed to be bib 32. He didn't start. Next up from Canada will be Sasha Gilbert. 19-year-old out of Whistler Mountain Ski Club. So many of the men on the Canadian Alpine team, women as well, are coming through Whistler Mountain Ski Club at the moment. They're doing a fantastic job. Of course, they've got all the terrain in the world to develop athletes across all of the disciplines up there. The Dave Murray downhill course in Whistler, running into Creekside, hosting many FIS events and NORAMs as well. It's a real test, of course, used for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games held in Vancouver and Whistler. 2.29 off of the pace right now for Gilbert. And the Canadian coming through the final turn now. And Sasha Gilbert into 28th place. He'll be hoping to stay in the top 30. It's all those little markers, isn't it? Top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20, top 30 that the athletes are looking for in building year on year, making those progressions. Getting back underway with Denny Jepa from Albania. Of course, the Albanian team now on the World Cup Tour is, particularly on the women's side, especially on the women's side with Lara Kulturi, is a new nation at the top end of World Cup competition. And hopefully Kulturi's success, and she'll be at these championships, will inspire some more Albanian talent to work hard and push their way into this sport. There's a lot of races in the Balkans that take place, FIS races. They've got some great mountains, and Jepa into 25th place. And that was a pretty solid run from the Albanian. Yes, he likes it. That is what it's all about, folks. Love seeing those skiers get to the finish and happy with their performance. He knows for his level that was really good. He's executed on his plan and delivered the run he wanted to put down. Manuel Horvitz from Chile next up. Of course, many of the athletes in this sport head down to South America during the Southern Hemisphere winter. He's out of La Parva, where a lot of races take place, not just in Alpine, but across other disciplines as well. And he gets a little twisted over the jump. I think if the infrastructure and the coaching continues to develop, it would be fantastic to see more skiers from South America, not just starting on the World Cup Tour, but heading towards the points as well. Sven von Appen was on the circuit last week, making his World Cup debuts for Chile, and Horvitz into 30th place, 3.75 down. Not as happy as the Albanian, who is still sitting in 25th place. Elliot Bennett in 23rd for Great Britain. The best of the Canadians is currently in 17th place, I should say. That is Blanford. Next to go, Fuentes also from Chile. Two Chilean skiers next to each other on the start list, keeping the coaching staff busy at the start. 1.8 down at the first of the splits. .09 down at the second of the time checks for the man from Chile. running outside of the top 30 at the moment. And see the time ticking by there of Hildebrand and Joaquin Fuentes into 35th place, 5.91 down. Just slightly drifting into the turn, getting late in the line here, and it's quite hard to recover through this section. Patrick Fiorczek from Czechia next up. Did 39.68 at the top split. That is very, very good for the man from Czechia right now. Just 18 years old. So one of the younger competitors. He'll have a few World Juniors still to come in his career. And this is a pretty good show from him. 1.54. Now, if he can maintain this nice dynamic turn, getting in, gliding well through this section, gentle on that left foot. You can see the finish line now, and it will be inside the top 30. Will it? 23rd place, 2.61. Very nice run from Fiorczek. Also from Czechia, Marek Müller, 19 years old, 0.76 at the first of the splits. Just a little late there. This, as we work through the start list, there is a few skiers with quite a bit less downhill experience. And hips just back and has to make a big recovery. Marek Müller. That's cost him a little bit more time. He's still within 2 seconds at this stage, but we have seen a lot of skiers through this bottom section where there's tricky turns on this course here. The Linga Piste in Chatel, 2,475 meters in length, and into 29th place, 3.56 down for Marek Müller. Maxim Marichin now for Ukraine. '48th and 43rd in the training runs. Just lost sight of him. 1.31 off the pace at the moment. Competing in Italy last weekend in some national junior races. Those junior races where the skiers are competing against athletes of their own age. A 21st in Super G, a 35th in Super G for Marichin. Has actually had a couple of Europa Cup slalom starts in his career, skied out in Berchtesgaden just a couple of weeks ago. And Marichin with a fairly solid run for Ukrainian, 4.61 down into 36th place. His teammate will be up next, followed by another teammate. So 3 Ukrainians all starting in a row. 4 Ukrainians on the start list today. The second of those, Roman Zybelenko next up. 1.4 down at the first split. 45th and 46th in the training runs. A couple of GS races last weekend in Zoncolan in Italy in the FIS circuit, a 28th and a 29th place. Well, slalom, he was 28th, 29th in the giant slalom. Starting to get a a few more speed starts under his belt now. 3.2 at the next split. 109 kilometers an hour on the speed gun for the Ukrainian athlete. Cyberlenko crosses the line in 38th place, 4.66 down. Pretty low in the line through that turn. Dmitry Shepiuk from Ukraine underway. 42nd and 45th in the two training runs. Was over in Spindlerev Mill in the Czech Republic in Czechia a couple of weeks or so ago, doing a bit of speed racing at the Czech Nationals. 36th in Super G, 33rd in the downhill there, and 1.62. Pretty good at the first split for these high bib numbers. 3.89 though, some of the speed has gone. He's a strong slalom skier, probably his best discipline at the moment, and Sheffield doing the right thing, I would say, and getting experience across all of the disciplines. Of course, for a lot of the smaller teams, it's hard to access regular, good quality downhill training. 39th place for Sheffield. Well, Rasmus Bakivik next to go for Norway. Actually, will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow. 21st place in the first training, 25th in the second training for this young gun out of Norway. Exciting talent out of the Hemming club. Turns 19 tomorrow. He's been on the Europa Cup tour in a giant slalom, scored a 30th there on the 17th of January in Valseny. 1.58, this is good. He's matching his training performances. Here is Bakivik from Norway. Now, can he hold it over the final section? Expect to see a little bit more time gone, and Bakivik from bib 44 into 20th, 2.43 down. That is a real confidence builder for the young Norwegian. I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes in the giant slalom as well. Aggressive, dynamic, great skiing from the Norwegian. Younes Terbesh from Monaco. It's been a while since we've seen a skier from Monaco on the World Cup Tour. Remember Alexandra Coletti on the women's circuit, really focused on the speed disciplines a good few years ago now. (18 years old. Giant slalom, probably his best discipline, although he is working his way up the rankings in downhill and Super G as well. It's all about lowering your FIS points month to month if you can. If you keep doing that, you know things are working out pretty well. 44th in the first training for Terbesh and 50th in the second training. So we're working our way through towards the end of the start list in the men's downhill. 41st for the man from Monaco. Lukas Kraus now for Germany. 36th in the first training was a decent performance, but for me, giant slalom is the one for him. World ranking in giant slalom, 377, so on 33.96 GS points, which, as I'm sure many of you know, is pretty good. So, really excited to see how well he goes in the GS later on at these championships, but handles that jump well. This is going nicely for the German. 1.88. We could see another athlete comfortably into the top 30. He's lost a little bit more time there through this section. He's just not running as perhaps as quick as he would like. And 1.88 at the second split. It's 3.49 down at the finish. 30th place for Lucas Kraus. But he's got his eyes, of course, on the giant slalom. It's the first medal event at these Junior Worlds, of course. Artem Soldatenko for Ukraine. 48th and 49th in the two training runs. His best world ranking is in downhill. Been doing a bit of training and racing in Italy over the past week to prepare for these championships in Sarntal and Chiesa Valmalenko last weekend. A couple of Super Gs there. 33rd for him and a DNF as well. A double Super G day, 2 races in the one day. 4.78 at the second split. Top 30 maybe out of the cards now. 1:19.05 the time of Hildebrand, who leads. And Soldatenko into 44th place. Alessandro Cantelli-Fink for Mexico. It's not a World Championships without a Mexican, is it? Enjoyed over many years. Hubertus von Hohenlohe always making his way to the World Championships and flying the Mexican flag. Cantelli-Fink, 19 years old. Again, downhill, probably his best of the disciplines. 50th and 53rd in the two training runs. Does most of his skiing in the US. He's been racing in a few slaloms back in December in Vale. Hasn't actually been in Europe too long. Was racing in Breckenridge last week in some FIS races in GS. It's certainly the tech disciplines where he has most of the experience, but downhill seems to suit him a little bit better. And Cantelli-Fink represented Mexico into 45th place. He'll be in action throughout these championships. Well, always good to see a real mix of nations on the start list. We want this to be a truly global sport. That is the key thing here. Does well over the jump. Handles the flight nicely. Doesn't panic, and that is a really good sign. We've got 2 athletes from Ireland on the start list. Ethan Bouchard, the first to go. 18 years old, out of the Gold Academy program in the US. Not a huge amount of downhill experience. He was actually racing over in Bosnia and Herzegovina last week in some slaloms and GS. Some decent slalom, giant slalom results, a couple of points, sub 60 point scores, and that is a nice thing to have on your record. Big flight from Bouchard. 1.96 off of the pace at the first split. Pretty good for the Irishman. He's a little down on the speed gun though, 104.55 kilometers an hour. He's lost a decent chunk of time between the two splits, and Bouchard representing Ireland. So more of the course is in that little bit of sunshine. He crosses the line in 44th place, 5.995 down. 3 to go here in Chatel, in the Portes de Soleil FIS Alpine Junior World Ski Championships for 2024. All of the action live on FIS TV right through the week. Make sure you tune in to watch the next generation, and in some disciplines, some of the current generation as well. Pietro Giovanni Mottellini next up for Italy. 0.71 down at the first of the splits. 20 years old. Giant slalom. Definitely his best discipline. Hasn't got a lot of downhill experience, but that's all changing today. You can see the skill he's got. He's a 26-point GS skier. That is how good he is. Has been on the Europa Cup Tour in giant slalom and in slalom as well, but getting the downhill experience here, and 1.63 for Mottellini is good. He could be about to spoil the top 30 party for a few athletes here, and Mottellini into 24th place from bib 50, 2.57 down. Those GS skills he's got helping him on to decent success here for a man that doesn't have a lot of experience in downhill. Hildebrand, the leader, with 2 to go. Bernardi in second, and Max Peratona in third. That's slightly the way it is going to finish here, but we will wait until the final 2 athletes have completed the course. But I think Hildebrand will be celebrating, upgrading the bronze from a year ago to a gold medal. Good run for Zepa from Albania into 28th place. These skiers so close to the top 30. It is just that little mark that many of the athletes look for. A couple of skiers that didn't finish. Canafarina, the big shock, silver medalist from St. Anton last year. Been going so well in the training. Well, 2 to go.
Ça permet de se faire des copains, des amis pour la vie, vraiment.